The idea of ODELIA is that you try to train an AI model to diagnose breast cancer in MRI, in magnetic resonance images. The problem that you face is that these data are rare at single entities, at single hospitals, so you need to gather a lot of data. And to gather these data, you can't just gather it centrally, you can't just go to the hospital and pick it up and collect it at a central location due to data privacy issues, but you need to leave the data at the hospital. And ODELIA is about how you can train an AI model with the data left at the respective hospitals. It's about federated learning and a variant thereof, which is called swarm learning. Swarm learning is very much similar to federated learning in that it sends the algorithm around to each data site. The algorithm learns at that data site, it's sent to the next site, learns there with another data set, etc., and goes around. And the weights are collected not centrally, like in federated learning, but are collected at separate nodes, so in a non-central kind of democratized way. In the application case that we are facing, breast MRI and detection of breast cancer, you face the problem that you do not have sufficient data amounts available at each site, and the MRIs that you acquire of the patients are also very different. So an MRI in Aachen looks very different from an MRI in Cambridge. It makes it hard for the AI model to generalize, to find breast cancer both in those data sets. So in order for the AI model to work, you need it to present images both from Aachen and from Cambridge and from Greece, etc., so that it has seen a lot and a broad array of images. And that's why it is very important in this specific application case, but ultimately in all application cases, that you have the ability to use a lot of data without centrally collecting the data, which is basically impossible in the healthcare setting. And we are not only planning on solving like a model which is good at detecting breast cancer in MR imaging. That is the first application case, but once we have shown that this works, our hope is that we can also apply it to different other problems, a whole area of other problems, be it liver imaging, or be it maybe also just conventional X-ray imaging of the lung. Because the more data you can present to the model, usually the better it gets. Currently, we are in the process of setting up the infrastructure, so we are going to each and every hospital that is participating in this project. We are speaking to the IT departments and installing our swarm learning setup there locally, so that we can send the AI model there, that the local site is prepared to receive the AI model and then connect it with the data there and then send it to another site. This is something that we have done already, so almost all of the sites are ready and set up. Now we are transitioning to the stage where we now collect the data from the on-site PACS system, so the on-site storage system for the radiologist, transfer it to the swarm learning node in an anonymized way, of course. Use also all the other data that we need, for example, the information, if there's breast cancer in the examination present or not, or if the patient had a history of breast cancer. And then we will join or make this data available to the swarm learning network, to the node, so that then it is ultimately prepared to do the first rounds of training. So now, since we have set up the infrastructure, we are in the process of preparing the data, and we have already made our first tests with some preliminary data in which we use this infrastructure to train the first version of the model, which is already working quite good, but ultimately not as good as we expected in the end to be. Ultimately, the idea is that we can have access to a large amount of data, which is still left on site, and train a wide array of AI models. IBA is great and helps us a lot because it kind of lets us concentrate on the research. We do not need to care that much about the coordination, about setting up the meetings, about filling all of the forms. So we can really concentrate on the content of our project, and that helps us to, in the end, deliver better results.